share with you the federal government of Somalia weekly report, which we deliver to you every week. The progress and achievements made by the federal government of Somalia in its fierce military offensive against Kharijist al-Shabaab will be highlighted in this weekly briefing. As you know, this is the first agenda of the FGS and its leaders, since the terrorist group is there to deny the Somali people their rights of living with peace. This week, the enemy was taught unforgettable lessons in the battlefield and front lines, where some of their positions were destroyed and taken over by the SNA. For example, areas between the Middle Shabelle and Galgaduud region, about 100 militiamen were killed by the Somali National Army and their partners, as well as in the Gulf Gaduud Bure area of southwest state, where about 60 militiamen were killed by the government forces. There are other areas where the enemy was targeted and inflicted with heavy losses. Weapons and ammunition is confiscated from them after they have been defeated. Once again, congratulations to the heroes of the Somali National Army and the people who stood to fully support the operations against the enemy. Let us extend a special commandment and congratulations to the Somali people who are tirelessly providing support to the heroes of the SNA. We encourage the spirit and ask them humbly to continue until our country becomes a pure, stable, and a land free from Al-Shabaab menace. The achievements of the SNA are positive indications of their morale and the preparation for taking the big task end of next year, which is to take over the entire security task of the nation from ATMIS AU forces who helped Somalia for the last decade. Thanks, ATMIS again. Still, with the reports about the fight against the terrorist Al-Shabaab, as we are aware, stopping the financial channels of the Kharijist Al-Shabaab is one of the three components of the fight. The President of the Federal Republic of Somalia met with U.S. Undersecretary of Finance Brian Nelson, who is in charge of anti-terror and stopping the channels of funding the terrorists. Both sides shared continued cooperation in the fight against terrorism and the U.S. support for the counter Al-Shabaab campaign. The President highlighted the progress and the achievement the FGS has made to weaken the financial channels of the terrorists. Meanwhile, the President also met with the National Committee in charge of preventing the terrorists from using financial resources. The committee briefed the President on the progress made so far in squeezing all financial sources that the terrorists used to fund their inhuman attacks and destructions against the Somali people. Once again, let me extend our thankfulness to the Somali people who made it possible for the government to succeed in weakening the financial sources of the terrorists. On the other hand, the Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre, while attending a summit in Dar es Salaam last week, he met the Kenyan President William Ruto. Their discussion focused on the ties and cooperation with the two brotherly and the neighboring countries, as well as the military cooperation in the fight against Al-Shabaab. Kenya is one of the frontline states, including Djibouti and Ethiopia, who will join the Somali National Army in the second phase of the offensive against Al-Shabaab. We know the terrorists are not only posing threat to Somalia, but also to the neighboring countries, where they conducted attacks in the past. The three frontline states will work under the guidance of the FGS and the Somali National Army in the second phase of the military offensive, aimed to uproot the terrorist menace from the region. Once the operation is over, all the forces from the frontline states will go back to their countries as agreed by the leaders of the region during their summit in Mogadishu on February 1st this year. Also, in our briefing this week, I am delighted to share with you that our country has registered a number of achievements for the country's economic perspectives. Somalia's efforts towards building strong institutions received a boost with a new 75 million grant from the World Bank, the second in a series of two grants that is helping the country making progress on its path to qualify for a full and irrevocable debt relief under the heavily indebted poor countries HIPIX initiative. The country manager of World Bank Somalia, Christina Svensson, said this effort supports the government's aspirations to build the foundations of a modern economy with strengthened institutions. It also signals the significant progress Somalia has made in terms of institution building and economic development, paving the way for a more stable and sustainable future. Also, Russia has granted a debt relief of over 684 million owed by Somalia in a deal finalized on the sidelines of Russia-Africa Summit in St. Petersburg. We also thank the Somali Parliament for passing or endorsing the budget review for the year 2023. We also mentioned in our report this week that Benadir Regional Court is still hearing corruption-related cases in which the government officials are being tried, accused of misappropriating millions of dollars of public funds. The FGS reiterates that the fight against corruption will continue and that anyone accused with corruption and available or sufficient evidence will be brought before the law. The FGS also confirms that all such proceedings will be conducted in a free and fair manner. This war is a message to everyone who is trying to divert the public funds intended to serve the public. And we are reminding all the people that they will face the dire consequences of our justice system when found misappropriating the public funds. Other major news in this week's report, including security, politics, economy, and social issues, will be available in the document that will be shared with you shortly from our platforms. Thank you very much.
bishaaro 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 shirkadda isgaarsiinta Somtel oo soo kordhisay adeega kaafiya plus kaasoo aad ka heli kartid $0.5 ilaa iyo $50. haddaba macaamiil ku shuba $0 oo hel 1.5 GB oo ay la socoto 70 daqiiqo iyo 50 fariin qoraaleed. ku shuba $1 oo hel 3 GB oo ay la socoto 140 daqiiqo iyo 50 fariin qoraaleed. sidoo kale macaamiil ku shuba $2 oo hel 6 GB oo ay la socoto 280 daqiiqo iyo 100 fariin qoraaleed. ku shuba $5 oo hel 10 GB iyo bar oo ay la socoto 600 daqiiqo iyo 200 fariin qoraaleed. sidoo kale macaamiil ku shubo $10 oo hel 30 GB oo ay la socoto 1200 daqiiqo iyo 300 fariin qoraaleed. ku shubo $20 oo hel 70 GB oo ay la socoto 2400 oo daqiiqo iyo 300 SMS. sidoo kale macaamiil ku shubo $50 oo hel 150 GB oo ay la socoto 6000 oo daqiiqo iyo 300 SMS. adeega kaafiye plus waxaad ugu shuban kartaa idahab xidig 1 4 gees, airtime xidig 200 4 gees, reseller xidig 300 4 gees. shirkadda isgaarsiinta Somtel oo aad ka heli karto internet qiimo jaban, tayo sare leh, misna la isku haleyn karo.